So they have to take away our identity. This has always been about identity control. And we've been the worst, our worst enemies in this plight, bruh. We've been working against ourselves the whole time. Where do you think these Africans get their talking points from? Black Americans. They get them from they get them from people like Dr. Umar Johnson, who always claiming we don't know where we're from. We don't know who we are because we deny our heritage. We don't want to be Africans and all this stuff. They get it from them. Where do you think they get all the negative stuff about us from? About us not having culture? How many Black American videos have you seen done down denigrating Black Americans, talking about we got no culture and Black American culture is trash? Where do you think they get it from? I mean, you got people like Nuri Muhammad running around here, and this dude never have a nice thing to say about Black Americans. I mean, anything and everything he say about us is negative, bruh. You know, we play sports because the slave masters told us to play sports. We sing and dance because the slave masters made us sing and dance. But granted, white folks play way more sports than we play. We basically play 3 sports: football, basketball, and baseball. You know, you got something like 58 sports going to be held in the Summer Olympics. Black people are going to be in 3 or 4 of them. Black Americans, that's it. White people in all 58 sports. But they play sports because they just play sports. We play sports because we were forced to play sports because of the slave master. And then he got this weird thing about saying how sports is hurting us when most Black Americans don't even play sports, bruh. I mean, it's not like every single Black person plays sports. Most Black Americans don't even play sports. So how in the hell is sports hurting Black people? And how can somebody playing sports for himself, you know, because he either like it or he sees an opportunity to get out the hood with it, you know what I'm saying? How is that affecting me? How is some cat playing high school football right now hurting me? How is some cat right now in college playing football hurting me? Come on, this is silliness, but these are the talking points that come from Black Americans. We illiterate in every way. We are no good. Our culture trash. We violent. We stupid. You know what I'm saying? These are all talking points that come from Black Americans, and we ain't nothing but slaves. These are the talking points that come from Black Americans. So you wonder why other people are trying to separate themselves from that, bruh. They're doing right, man. I'm not even mad at them, man. I'm not mad at them, bruh. Everything I'm about to say, you already know it to be true. You are a slave. You are a slave to money, to social economics, to status, to politics, to ideology. You have sold your soul to have a place in a world order that you should naturally oppose. Y'all owe me an apology, bruh. Look, man, my message since I came on YouTube has primarily been about self-love. Self-love. You know, every time like the brothers would complain about what women say and what women do, I would say, man, forget about them, focus on yourself. Not so much as to diss the women, but to get you out of the mindset of worrying about people that you can't control. You can't control what other people do. You can't control what other people think. You can't control what other people believe, but you can control yourself. And that's really the only power you do have is over yourself, over your mind to be specifically, right? And this whole thing with the delineation movement and everything that's going on with blacks versus like Black Africans and Black Caribbeans and so forth, man, this whole thing is our fault, people. It's our fault. Y'all blaming Africans and Caribbeans for having no respect for us when we have no respect for ourselves. If the only identifying attribute you allowed to exist, you allowed to be displayed to the world is that you are a beat down, downtrodden slave, because that's the only identity we are proud of. It's the only thing we boast. It's the only thing we talk about. And nobody wants to identify with that, bro. You surprised people like Carmelo Anthony is doing what he's doing and people like Busta Rhymes is doing what he's doing. I'm not surprised, bro. Because if a person could separate themselves from that, they're going to do it. Because that's what that's the automatic tendency, right? Nobody should want to be identified solely as being a descendant of an African slave. And that's the only identity that our so-called leaders, the people who speak for us, the people who are online talking for us, the black academics, the black activists, that's the only identity they allow us to have. Because if we say that we were here before Europeans came and that we're indigenous to the land, they get mad about that. My point is this here. Nobody in their right mind should want to be solely identified as a slave. Everybody wanted to be black when it was just us being black Americans, right? Before we started harping on all this slave stuff, like around 2000 and on, before we got crazy into slavery, everybody wanted to be black. Everybody wanted to associate themselves with being black. But over the last 20 years or so, man, with the rise of blacks going to college and Africana studies and all this stuff, we seem to be fascinated with the identity of being slaves. And nobody else wants to share their identity with us, man. So people are pulling back, they're getting away from us because they don't want to be associated with that. And I don't blame them. I don't blame them because, look, if you claim that that's our only identity, then they don't want to share their identity. And I don't blame them. And you should not want to share it, but for some reason, we wear that like it's a badge of honor. We are so proud to be slaves, man. I mean, we could be talking about a space program, interstellar travel, and somehow slavery is going to come up. We could be talking about, the difference between pasteurized and unpasteurized milk, and somehow slavery is going to come up. You know what I'm saying? I mean, in every conversation held by black people in America, slavery comes up within the first few minutes of that conversation. You can put on any channel. I don't care if they're talking about politics, the weather, Mars, Venus, an asteroid. I don't care what they're talking about. Somehow slavery is going to become centered in that conversation. And this is a problem, man, because that's a psychosis. No healthy minded person would be that enamored with the identity of being a damn slave, man. That is not healthy thinking. And this got nothing to do with being ashamed of your heritage, because most of y'all don't know if it's true. Most of y'all don't even know y'all great grandparents. And you talk about you was a slave. You don't even know if it's true. I'm surprised we ain't selling I'm a slave shirts, man, right now, bruh. I mean, we so proud of their identity. I mean, how you gonna say, oh, maybe they was ashamed of it when we've never shown any amount of shame regarding that identity or that label or that heritage. We make it our whole identity. That's it. Slaves. That's it. Kwanzaa and all this slaves. That's it. That's all we do. And we take anything we do good and we attribute it to Africa. When the Africans are nothing like us. They don't do nothing like us, man. But anything we do that's good, we try to attribute that to Africa. So now you mad at Carmelo Anthony for attributing his success in the NBA in America to Puerto Rico, a country he didn't know, a father that, I mean, he had no real connection to Puerto Rico. His father died when he was a baby, basically. Never knew his father. You know what I'm saying? His mama is what you call FBA, you know what I'm saying, Foundational Black American. But he's giving all praise and all credit to Puerto Rico, a place that he really has no connection to. You mad at Busta Rhymes for doing what he's doing? I mean, if a person has an opportunity to separate himself from this sole identity as a slave, they're going to do that, people. And you can't be mad at them, man. You can't be mad at them. The only people I don't understand is y'all, because we've been trying to tell y'all for the longest that most of us are indigenous Americans, and y'all don't want to hear that. Y'all refuse to hear that. You fight that tooth and nail, man. You don't want to hear, you don't want to accept it, you know what I'm saying? And I don't understand what you think you're going to get out of being a slave. Well, I do know what you think you're going to get. You think you're going to get reparations. You think you're going to get a cash payment. That's what you think you're going to get. But there's a problem that there's a dilemma that comes with the whole reparations argument, right? For one thing, they're never going to pay us all that money. So they're going to have to make you qualify for it, which means you're going to have to prove a direct connection to a slave. 99% of y'all will not be able to make that connection. I'm sorry. You're going to have your feelings hurt. You're going to have your feelings hurt because you're not going to be able to make that connection. But you know what, clowns like the dude who told me that 400 years is not enough time to to wipe out a culture and everything, he's going to say that you can't make the connection, his type. He's going to make an excuse why you can't make that connection. But we talking about just 4 generations. We talking about your grandparents, your great-great-grandparents, your great-grandparents, your great-great-grandparents, and your great-great-great-grandparents. That's it. That'll put you in the 1860s. That person there should have been either born a slave or a direct child of former slaves. 4 generations, that's it. I don't care how old you are right now. You're talking 3 or 4 generations, and most of y'all will not be able to make that connection. So you won't qualify for the money anyway. Y'all talking about Africans don't want to respect that we don't want to identify as Africans, but y'all don't respect that some Black Americans, actually most Black Americans, when they know, actually going to identify as being indigenous Americans. Y'all don't want to respect that, but y'all want them to respect you, but you don't want to respect me. I'm right here with y'all, bruh. Same struggle, same plight, same everything from the beginning, man. Foundational American, just like the rest of you brothers and sisters, man. But my ancestors were already here. They are of the American Indian and West Indian descent. This is something I know. But when I tell y'all that, y'all get mad at me. Y'all don't want to respect me, but y'all want them to respect us. That's a problem. And this is why the delineation, it can't stop with just the immigrants and the Caribbeans, you know what I'm saying, the Africans. We have to delineate within ourselves, because FBA is not going to be suitable for Black Americans who identify as being indigenous Americans, because the FBA is being controlled by Blacks, is being led by Blacks who still see themselves as descendants of slaves. Listen, I listen to Dennis Sperling talk all the time, right? You know, since this whole FBA thing started, you know, the delineation thing started, he's been kind of on fire. But if you listen to him, every time he talks, he makes sure he keeps us within the confines of a slave narrative. I mean, and the crazy thing, you got so much new history out here that didn't exist in the 80s. Let me explain. I seen this nerdy chick doing a video talking about the moon landings, based on Candace Owens having some debate with some white boy about whether or not the moon landings were fake, right? And she went on AI, right? Live on AI, asking it questions, right? And she gave us some parameters. She said, I don't want you to quote nothing off of Wikipedia, nothing off no online sources, nothing from no books. I want only what you can find from the original documents from NASA during that time, not after. Not documents from NASA in 1990 and 2000. I need it from the 60s during that time, right? And she said she did that because she's read both documents. She's read the original documents, and she's read what they have today on like Wikipedia and stuff. And she said the information is different. She said what you have public access to is not the same as what's in the original documents. And that's the same thing that's been happening the whole slave narrative, bruh. You know what I'm saying? Look, I've been running in pro, like real positive pro-Black circles, man, since the like early 80s, you know what I'm saying? A lot of the history y'all hearing right now regarding slavery and stuff, it wasn't around in the 80s, bro. It wasn't around in the 70s. It wasn't around in the 60s. This is all stuff that started happening after all these Blacks start going to college and everything. You start getting people like the chick that made the 1619 Project, right? The Black people that created critical race theory and everything like this. They keep coming up with new stuff. The Black woman that wanted to make Juneteenth a national holiday and everything like this. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we are so in love with the slave identity that is crazy. It's weird, man. Because you would think that if you have even a 1% chance of not being a descendant of slaves from Africa, you would jump on that. But y'all do the opposite. Y'all reject it. Because y'all think y'all gonna get money from these people. I think that's what it's about. I think y'all believe, first of all, I think y'all don't want to cause no waves with these people. Y'all still trying to assimilate. Y'all still trying to kiss white folks' asses. And you really hoping that they'll feel sorry for you and give you some money. But it ain't never going to happen, bro. The whole problem is the FBA is going to turn into our new gatekeepers. Because they are basically the same as ADOS. They're basically the same as Pan-Africans and pro-Blacks. The Nation of Islam has turned into that. Hebrew Israelites have turned into that. Moors have turned into that. You know, Black Christians have turned into that. So basically we are boxed into a narrative of slavery, and that's the only narrative that's going to be said. Again, listen to Dennis Sperling. He talks about the delineation between us and Caribbeans and Africans, but he keep us identified as African slaves one way or another. Even if he acknowledged blacks were here, he do so within the confines of a narrative that we traveled here with some king or leader or whatever, you know what I'm saying, from Africa prior to white folks coming here. There's no proof of that, people. There's no evidence of that. In fact, I was listening to man Ivan Van Sertima, man, a man who I respect, and he was talking about how Africans had boats. Because he wants to make us from Africa too. And he showed these little, rowboats that hold, 30, 40 people, which are basically canoes in the ocean, bro. I mean, and again, smart people are just so dumb.
What?
You know what I'm saying? If you think somebody crossed the whole ocean in a goddamn row canoe, you don't know nothing about the ocean. First of all, where the food at? Where the supplies at? Where the water? You can't drink that water out the ocean, people. So they crossed the ocean in goddamn row canoes with no supplies. Come on, man. Not just to mention them waves. Y'all don't know how rugged those waves be. A canoe could never make that trip, people. You ain't gonna make it, people. Bro, you can't cross no ocean with that. But you gonna fast for 60? I mean, and you talking about back then when they had to actually cross on a rowboat, so they got to row across the whole damn thing. Come on, man. It's just silly to think that we traveled across the ocean in canoes. And this the kind of stuff they say, man, so this is the problem we're going to have with FBA. The FBA is going to be controlled by that kind of mindset. I listened to one lady talk about it. Every time she opens her mouth, she mentions slavery in Africa. And people in the comment section be saying, but not all of us came over here that way. Not all of us are from Africa. Not all of us were slaves. And she don't care. Every time she talks about it, it's we were trapped. We were enslaved. We were brought here. We came here by force. It's we. The FBA are not going to differentiate between Black Americans, foundational Black Americans who came here as slaves, as African slaves, and foundational Black Americans who are indigenous Black Americans. They're not going to make that distinction. Therefore, we have to make it, because I'm not going to be lumped in with y'all, bro. This is all about self-love. This is not about me being ashamed of nothing. First of all, I know my family heritage. I know my ancestry. So that's not even a question. You know what I'm saying? You can do all the digging on me you want. I mean, I was here. My people was here. So that's not a question. The question you need to ask is for yourself. Do your own digging. Try to trace yourself back to slavery, because you won't be able to find it. 99% of y'all won't be able to find it. And so you're going to come up with all kinds of excuses. Instead of saying there's something fishy here, you're going to say, well, the records got destroyed. You know what I'm saying? Y'all tripping with that, bro. Y'all tripping with that. Instead of saying, well, if I can't find it, then they can't put me in that category, so I'm not going to claim it. That's what you should say. You don't want to be African no way. So you should just say, listen, if I can't make that connection, then I'm not going to claim it. That means my people are here. That's what you should say. But you're not going to say that because y'all have become in love with the slave identity. And this is why people are separating from us, man. And they should, man. Now, if that's your heritage, if that's how you came here, I'm not intending to insult you, you know what I'm saying, or be mean or be disrespectful to your ancestry. That's cool. You know what I'm saying? That's cool. I still don't know why you hold on to it like a badge of honor, but it's cool. You know what I'm saying? But as a man thinketh, so shall he behave. You know what I'm saying? Unless you want to behave like a slave, you need to come out of that mindset. You know what I'm saying? But it's cool. If that's your lineage, it's cool. But if it's not your lineage, if that's not your heritage, if that's not, your background, or if you can't prove it is, if you can't find that connection, then you should drop that label. You should drop that label. So my advice to all of y'all is try to do your own research. And I'm not the first person to say this, man. Blacks have been telling y'all do your own research for years. Y'all don't want to do the research. And then you get somebody to do some research talking about they found out their parent was a breeder and everything, you know what I'm saying? And I don't want to call nobody a liar, man. I don't believe this stuff, bro. You know what I'm saying? I don't believe this stuff, man. Because I've seen enough in y'all to know that if y'all don't find a connection, y'all gonna still make that connection. You know what I'm saying? Because y'all want that connection to be true. For some strange reason, you want to be identified as a slave from Africa. So when other people treat you like a slave from Africa, when other people delineate from you, come here, use your resources, benefit off of all of your hard work, but don't want to align themselves with you or identify with you, you can't be mad at them, people, because your identity is that of a slave. And if nobody in their right mind wants to identify with that, man. Nobody in their right mind wants to identify with that. I'm sorry. If that's your reality, that's your reality. But nobody in their right mind wants to identify with that. Nobody would think that that's cool. Nobody would think that that's something to be proud of. Nobody think that's something to be proud of. There is absolutely nothing in that for you. All you do is demean and denigrate yourself, especially if you've never proved it to be true. So I'm gonna close how I started. Y'all owe me an apology. See, everything in life is about self-love and self-respect. When I talk about relationships, my viewpoint on relationships is always about the self. Loving yourself. You know what I'm saying? Only thing I can control is me. And that's the only person I want to control. And I'm not trying to be like nobody else. I'm not trying to claim no identity just so I can be friends with nobody. I'm not gonna sit around here and disrespect my ancestry just so we can be buddies online. Y'all the ones with the problem, bro. If y'all see me as the ops, like one dude actually told me when I got into this argument with him, he told me that we not family because he come from slaves. See, if I didn't come from slaves, then we not family. That's what the dude told me. Real talk. Real talk, bro. So y'all got a problem, bro. And he made up a lie to justify why he believed they came from slaves. He said that he knew his great-grandmother, and the dude younger than me. Remember, slavery ended in 1865. He's 10 years younger than me. So at that time, I think I was like, I might have been about 47 years old at that time, which means he was probably about 37 years old, which means his great-grandmother wasn't that old. She might have been 70. You know what I'm saying? That's it. 80 or something. You know what I'm saying? That's it. Maybe 90. But he claimed that she told him that she was born a slave. Now remember, it ended in 1865. This dude is 37 years old. He said his great-grandmother. So this lady was 130 years, 140 years old, bro, to tell him that. Because he got to be at least 10 years old to remember that conversation, which means she had to be about 100, 30, 140 years old when she told him that. Come on, man, what's wrong with you, bro? So he made up a lie. This is the psychosis that's going on inside y'all minds. He made up a lie to justify identifying as a slave. He just lied. Because I know what he said wasn't true. So, I'm not about to sit here and identify as a slave just to be y'all buddy, bro. You know what I'm saying? So my advice to all Black Americans who understand that we are indigenous, we got to delineate from the FBA also, man. It got to be IBA, Indigenous Black Americans, or just Indigenous Americans, or nothing. You know what I'm saying? We are not going to be able to sing Kumbaya with the FBA crowd for long, because they are not going to allow any other identity to be tied to us except that of African slaves. And that's a problem, because they don't want to respect us, but they want Africans and Caribbeans to respect us. But they don't want to respect us. We're in this position because of them kinds of dudes. We're in this position because of niggas in America who got nothing good to say about Black Americans. And I don't even dump on us like that, but in fact, I've always defended. I defended Pookies and Ray Rays. I defended Shaniquas and Shanae's, hood girls. I defend us all, man, because I understand there's a lot of circumstances behind the things that we do that we got to consider, you know what I'm saying? And it's not, you don't kick people when they down, man. You got to understand where people coming from. You got to understand how they get where they at, you know what I'm saying? So I've been defending us, but I also say that once we go bad, I'm not about to be sitting here arguing with us either. I'm not about to be sitting here fussing, fighting with us, trying to change anybody's mind, trying to get anybody to do anything different. I'm not about to do that, bro, because I can't. All I can do is sit here and tell you what I can tell you, man. Move on. So y'all owe me an apology, because I've been on some self-love stuff the whole time. I am not going to identify as an African slave, bro, because that's not my ancestry. And the only people who seem to care about it, because I've told white people that, I've told Asians that, told Mexicans that, the only people I've run into that had a problem with me claiming to be from indigenous line of Americans are Black Americans. The only opposition I've ever gotten is from Black Americans. The only pushback I've ever gotten is from Black Americans. And y'all wonder why nobody respects us when we can't respect ourselves. Again, you got people like Nur Muhammad, never got a kind thing to say about Black Americans. Your Black conservatives never got a kind thing to say about Black Americans. Black liberals never got a kind thing to say about, especially Black men. When you get to Black liberals, now basically everything falls on Black men. Never got a kind thing to say about Black men. It's sad how much self-hatred we got floating around, and we pretend like the only thing that gives us pride is being a damn slave. Make that make sense. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Again, if that's your ancestry, man, look, more power to you. But I hope you don't believe it is because you took some damn DNA test. Because you can Google that and see that that's not accurate. That's seriously flawed. It's scientifically flawed. It's historically flawed. It's flawed. So I hope you didn't get that from no DNA test, because that's not accurate. So basically, you identify how you do because that's just what you believe. Now you got to ask yourself, why do you believe it? Have you proven it? I'm not going to identify like that, bro. You know what I'm saying? And I feel sorry for us, man, because we are getting, we getting done wrong by foreigners, bro, by immigrants. We getting done dirty, man. But I mean, but we can't check them until we check our own house. We got to get our house in order first. So our main objective right now in this day and age, one thing we should all agree on is delineation. Whether you FBA or IBA, that's Foundational Black American or Indigenous Black American, right? Whether you FBA or IBA, we should agree that delineation is the order of the day. That should be the thing that we should all be able to work together on. Delineation. And we need to delineate from each other also. The FBA, who see themselves as descendants of African slaves, do not need to be in the same category on any official documents, on any political things with me, with Indigenous Black Americans. We need to be separated from y'all also. And not out of hatred, out of self-love and self-preservation. I want my apology in the comment section, man. Apologize, because I've done all these videos. I'm just over y'all heads. When I talk about how we should address relationships, pull away from each other, stop fighting, stop clashing, that's love. That's not me hating on nobody. Why should I continue to engage in a relationship that's dysfunctional? That's unwise. I can't make it change. I can't make the other. Suppose I'm the problem. It's not even about blaming somebody. Suppose I'm the problem. You know what I'm saying? They can't make me change, and I can't make them accept me the way I am. All we doing is clashing. So if I want peace, I need to move on. Y'all see that as a sellout move. Oh man, this nigga cooning. It's not a sellout move, man. Moving on is what you do. Seeking peace is what you do. Seeking peace is what you do. It's how I move. This is my first order right here. Peace. I'm going to always do what's peaceful. And right now, the peaceful thing to do is total delineation from everybody. Everybody need to have their own grouping, man, because we are not the same. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. Till next time, I'm out of here. I'm Brother Kush. I want my apology in the comment section. Salam.